So Levi Strauss and Company started using Boardwalk some 8 years ago. So we started with two major applications for demand planning and for supply planning. Since then, we have made several enhancements along the way, and we have added 3 applications with the new application engine and the universal template. We have the production order collaboration tool, which I will speak to next. A tool called capacity planning tool is where we manage and plan with the vendor's manufacturing capacity. The raw material tool is an application where we track all the raw material liabilities that we incur from the manufacturing vendors. And then we have a Levi's super user team that have been trained on the Boardwalk maintenance and administration of the application. So Levi's process is centered on the exchange of information between the resource planners in the United States and the sourcing managers located in several countries where we source production. So the sourcing managers, in turn, work directly with our vendors to capture and negotiate the production capacity and schedules. The collaboration process follows a published monthly calendar where each team members have activities with specific deadlines by week. The information is handed off from one member to another, and as you can see in week 1, the resource planners generate a consolidated set of reports to perform their variance analysis. And then in week 2, the resource planners will submit their production order requisitions to the sourcing managers in the field. In week 3, the resource planners, the sourcing managers, and the sourcing suppliers, who are our vendors, will interact with each other to load level the production capacity and propose a production schedule. This is an iterative process until a tentative plan is put in place. And finally, in week 4 or 5, the sourcing managers will input the data collected and agreed upon with the vendors and submit the production confirmation back to the sourcing planners for review. So in summary, week 1, we see what we need. Week 2, this is the product I need and how much I need and by when. In week 3, we figure out what the vendors can do based on what was requested. And weeks 4 and 5, they send back the confirmation. The production order management is done via Excel templates. And it involves exchanging several key informations amongst the resource planners, the sourcing manager, and the vendors. Some of the information are related to the capacity for each vendor, some of the trigger dates, such as PO issue date, fabric exit mill dates, cut dates, and so forth. This process, we have a team of around 10 resource planners, about 70 resource managers, sourcing managers, and they are spread out in different countries, and they interact with a pool of over 100 vendors that they can choose from around the world. So what are the challenges that Levi is faced with this process? First and foremost is the file sharing issues. 8 years ago, we started with around 150 users and trying to update this information. Today, we have about half of that. And to facilitate the process, the business had a single file saved on the SharePoint site. This single file had thousands of rows of data, and these users were trying to get their share of data updated. So to control the collaboration process, the business adopted a procedure where the first person who could get the file and wanted to update their slice of data would then check out that file so that their data would not get lost. And then after finishing his or her updates, the person would then check in to release the file for the next person. Well, this concept was great, but soon they realized that this process did not work. So why? Failing to check out could mean that all of someone's work will be overlaid by the next person who did remember to check the file out. And there was no way to enforce a checkout or remind the users to do so. On the flip side, failing to check in kept colleagues from being able to access the single file and do their work. So people would step away from their work and go about doing other tasks and totally forget to check in the file. So this scenario resulted in low productivity, low efficiency in their process. People were working with their entire data set versus just their own data. One user working on their data might have accidentally changed or deleted someone else's data without even knowing that, and then exposing all the data in the file to their errors. People who were locked out by someone else also could not update the file until someone would email that person to check in that file. And checking in the file could take between hours to 1 day, because a person could be on the opposite side of the world, and in worst case scenario, it could take up to 3 days if that happened on a Friday or weekend or even a holiday in their country. So as I mentioned in my previous slide, the production collaboration process is driven by a monthly calendar cadence with weekly activities. And so with that many users, it could take that person a couple of weeks before they could input their updates and missing their deadlines. Another key issue was related to data integrity and data consistency issues. So most entries here are not keyed in by the sourcing managers, but the information are copied from the vendors and pasted in, thus evading data validation and allowing that bad entries into the worksheet. And some critical data are required for the process, and the absence of these data causes even further delays. Again, low productivity and low efficiency. This collaboration process needed 2 full-time super users to fix the data that was incorrect, fix the formatting, and filling in the missing data on behalf of the resource planners and the sourcing managers, almost defeating the purpose of streamlining this collaboration process. So how did Boardwalk overcome? How did Boardwalk help overcome these challenges and problems? Having the entire data stored in a more robust environment provided added benefits. It removes the need to break out the files to different planners and consolidate them again for aggregation later. The table, row, and cell level locking is handled by the database. It reduces the risk of corrupting a single file saved on the SharePoint and losing all the data. The number of rows in their Excel template today are much smaller than the entire data set, resulting in a smaller file size saved on their laptops. So the majority of our sourcing managers operate in third world countries where internet infrastructure is subpar compared to ours. So by reducing the file size versus the need to download the entire data set from the SharePoint is a big plus. Each user only accesses their own information, and each user, depending on their role, whether they are a resource planner or a sourcing manager, will only be able to update their data. Users no longer need to search for their slice of data in the entire data set, thus increasing productivity. Another factor is that there is no risk of tampering with or removing other people's data. Users are now accountable for their own data, and the managers can view a superset of the data for the resource planners working under his or her supervision. Users no longer need to wait for other users to finish updating the data, thus increasing efficiency. They can simply download their slice of data at any point in time or submit their changes at their convenience or needs. The users can work offline without being connected to the corporate network, which is a big advantage. The sourcing managers often visit the vendor's facility to manage the production planning face-to-face. So as long as the vendor have internet connection, they can either download the data or submit their updates right at the factory location. Data integrity and data consistency through business validation. Boardwalk template has built-in business validations to ensure data integrity, such as validating the date formats, numeric formats, mandatory fields, and it can ensure data consistency by allowing only a certain set of values from a list to be entered, and it ensures that the columns with formulas are always the same. Sourcing managers can simply copy and paste data provided by the vendors into the merge sheet, which has the same layout as the main data sheet. And then the merge function validates the data, refusing to accept any acceptance until all the data is validated and all mandatory fields are present. And the same validation process is performed upon submitting the data to the server. So it eliminates the need for super users to perform data scrubbing and data cleansing so they can focus on the business collaboration process itself. We have over 40,000 product codes that need to be validated and have the attributes displayed in the template. So in order to enable that feature, we have a daily integration process between our ERP and Boardwalk. This eliminates the need to rekey all the product codes in Boardwalk and keeps data up to date. This integration process is done via batch processing at off business hours. Boardwalk data is used for other downstream applications, either for reporting or as an input for further processing. Boardwalk provides login security for each user to download and submit their data, and the database is also in a secured environment that is backed up on a daily basis. On the change management side, Boardwalk has built-in facilities for audit trails at the table, row, and cell level. And besides the audit trail, we have used the audit trails to uncover bugs in the template and also flaws in our business process by understanding how the data flowed and how it got changed. One time we also used the audit trail feature for data recovery because the user wanted to roll back their data. Boardwalk provides several built-in modules which can be used over and over again. Every new application can use the same standard built-in features, resulting in the same look and feel of the template. There's no need to reinvent the wheel, and custom macros can be easily adapted within Boardwalk templates. Boardwalk has come a long ways from 8 years ago, and with the new application engine 4.0 and the newest universal template, it has allowed Levi's to prototype new business models significantly faster than before. The ongoing changes in the business process can easily be adapted with a newer version of Boardwalk. Training on the new universal templates allowed us to become more self-sufficient, and development efforts is a matter of weeks versus months. So in summary, we let Boardwalk handle the Excel interaction with the users. Excel is a tool that users are familiar with, and this helps increase the process adoption rate. The ability to collaborate offline and remotely with team members and business partners with only your data set is a big plus. The agility of prototyping and the flexibility of making changes to the template helps support the business process changes. And ultimately, we want to maximize our productivity and minimize the inefficiencies in the process.